Imagine you were a smelter worker in Clarkdale between the years of 1913 and 1950. What would you be looking forward to after a hard day's work? Thanks to William Clark's plan for his company town, there was much more for a smelter to do in his free time than drink, chase women, and get into fights, as was often the case for mine workers in nearby Jerome. Clark not only created a beautiful town, but he provided civilized entertainment and social activities of the kind he might enjoy himself. Clark intended that his town would attract stable and productive workers, so his planned community provided plenty of sports, outdoor activities, and social events to keep his workers happy and out of trouble. By virtue of being located on the Verde River, Clarkdale offered many natural resource opportunities for its residents. A smelter worker could hunt or fish on the Verde River, which likely had a much greater water volume than it does today. He could also bring his family to nearby Peck's Lake to picnic or to go swimming or boating. Occasionally, the lake would freeze in the winter and offer fun activities on the ice, a special treat for those who had moved to warm Arizona from colder climates. Peck's Lake was also the location of a 9-hole golf course originally built by golfing enthusiasts living in Clarkdale. The course initially lacked grass fairways and greens due to the dry climate. In fact, the first greens were made of a layer of sand covered with oil to hold it together, and pushed rollers, such as this one from the museum collection, were kept near each of the sand-covered greens so that players could smooth out the surface after putting was completed. In the early 1920s, the United Verde Copper Company eventually supported the golf course by building a clubhouse and providing grass for the fairways and crushed cottonseed hulls for the greens. The company brought in an English golf professional to help improve the course. A mining journal at the time labeled the course as the sportiest 9 holes in the Southwest. The improvements gave the course more prestige, and it was an enjoyable and popular activity for those smelter employees who could afford it. As an added benefit to provide evening entertainment, the company built a dance pavilion next to the Golf Country Club. Dances and parties at the pavilion were popular activities among Clarkdale residents. In the early 1940s, the company actually recruited a Flagstaff music trio known as the Perrymore Orchestra to come live and perform on a regular basis in Clarkdale. A smelter worker could also be entertained as a spectator at local sporting events. United Verde Copper Company established company baseball teams shortly after the smelter was completed. The team initially played on an area of flat land near Patio Town. Later, an improved field with grandstands and lights was built at the western end of Upper Town, next to the high school football field. Jerome was the main baseball rival, of course, but the team also traveled around northern Arizona to play other rural small-town teams. The Clarkdale team had a reputation as one of the state's better teams and won a Northern Arizona championship in 1931. Watching youth sports was also a popular pastime. The Clarkdale High School Wolves played football games at the west end of the town, next to the baseball field in the days of leather helmets. And at the Clark Memorial Clubhouse Auditorium, residents could watch the Wolves basketball team play. The Clark Memorial Clubhouse, so named because it was completed in 1927 after the death of William Andrews Clark, was a venue mainly for adults to have a good time in a refined way. The clubhouse was built with a donation from Clark's estate and was furnished with a separate, well-appointed lounge for the men and one for the ladies. The men had a spacious room with comfortable furniture, billiard tables, and a large fireplace. Their lounge was equipped with a soda fountain, no alcohol, and a well-stocked humidor for those who enjoyed cigars. Next door was a library and a reading room. The ladies had a slightly smaller space where they could sit in comfortable chairs and socialize. A 4-lane bowling alley was built in the basement, although 2 of the lanes were constantly plagued by water leaks and were rarely used. In the late 1920s, this was the only bowling alley in all of northern Arizona. For both adults and children to cool off in the hot weather, a swimming pool was also built outside the east side of the clubhouse. Although Mexican-American smelter workers and their families were effectively segregated into the patio park section of Clarkdale, also known today as Patio Town, the company did provide them with a clubhouse of lesser proportions and a swimming pool close to their multi-family residences. Among other Main Street businesses, Clarkdale residents were able to enjoy their own movie theater. Since the founding of Clarkdale, the theater had changed names and owners several times. In 1936, owner Joe Becchetti remodeled the facility, now adapted for talking pictures, and reopened it as the Grand Theater. The town park was another option for smelter workers to enjoy outdoors with picnics or perhaps a free concert at the bandstand, performed by the company band. There were also annual events for the whole family to enjoy. The annual 4th of July parade down Main Street gave fire engines, community groups, and the high school drum and bugle corps a chance to march and perform for the crowds. On Labor Day in the early years of Clarkdale, there was a public spectacle of an electrician contest where men competed to see who could climb up telephone poles and attach wires in the shortest time. A one-time special event for the residents of Clarkdale took place when Phelps Dodge bought the United Verde Copper Company in 1934 and held a grand reopening ceremony of the Clark Clubhouse. Although not all smelter workers had equal recreational opportunities, it is certain that Clarkdale, through its riverside location, as well as amenities provided by the company, was a place where the residents had lots of free time options available. William A. Clark and his United Verde Copper Company seem to have achieved their goals of supplying its workers with enjoyable after-work activities to both incentivize long-term employment with the company and keep the employees contented and safe.